It's great to be back. I think this is the second year in a row I've had the leadoff spot, which I like. I brought 3 of our team leaders with me today. Carl Lawson, our defensive end, a guy that has battled injuries the last couple of years. He is in the best shape and the best spot he's been since he's been here, and that's a good thing. Defensive tackle Mike Travis Adams, a 3-year starter. Both these guys had chances to leave early. They decided to come back, which I think is very important to get their degree and to be team leaders. Wide receiver Marcus Davis, one of our more versatile players that we have, also returns kicks. And the thing about these 3 is they have experience. All 3 of these guys had an active role in us winning the SEC championship in 2013. I think that's very important. Our theme this year is earned. Our players came up with that. Earn your teammates' respect, your coach's respect. Earn it every day, on and off the field. And our guys have done that in the offseason. Really excited about our players. They've had a very good offseason, a very good spring. Our team unity is very strong, and our leadership is very strong. They're really stepping up. They're being accountable to each other, and not just the coaches. And that's very critical, with teams. Very excited about our staff, our offensive staff. All of them have either played for me in this offense or they've coached with me in this offense for an extended period of time. Our defense, Kevin Steele's done a great job with our staff. Jill has done a great job of gelling our staff together. Our philosophies are exactly the same. I think that's very important. Offensively, one thing that we really focused on this spring with Will and fall camp is getting back and playing with pace. That's been an edge of ours in the past, and that's got to be the same this coming year. Also, executing at a high level. We've always prided ourselves in executing at a high level. Last year, we didn't get that done. So those are really the 2 focuses from my standpoint to get this thing turned around so we can play quality offense like we expect. And then thirdly, we got to find our starting quarterback. The positives, we got 3 guys that we feel like can execute our offense. The challenge we have is defining and figuring out who that guy is going to give us the best chance to win games. The good thing is we do have experience in this before. 3 years ago, we had a wide open job. When Nick Marshall won the job, of course, we ended up having a pretty good year with that. Defensively, we do have a lot of experience back, which I think is very important. We played well in the second half of the season. There's a lot of carryover as far as our defense last year, defense this year, which I think is important. And I think we got a chance to have one of the best, if not the best, defense we've had at my time at Auburn, which I think is very important. Special teams, I feel very good about our special teams with our depth coming back, specifically our kicker, Daniel Carlson. I think he's one of the best kickers in all college football. And he's not just a weapon, field goals and extra points, but he's a weapon on kickoffs, which is very critical as far as that goes. And overall, I really like where our team's at. I like where our staff's at. We have one of the toughest schedules in all of college football again this year. We got to win close games, and that's what you have to do in this league, and you got to earn it. And we're going to take the 1 game at a time approach, similar to what we did in 2013. Question?
We have Thomas Matt Tyler. We'll start right here in the center. Right here.
Emily Shoffman, Auburn Plainsman. Coach, Evan, in the fall camp, how is the offensive line shaping up? What kind of changes are we going to see there? And is there any edge on who might be the starting right tackle?
Yeah, we're at the same point when we left spring as far as the first 5 out there. Here's the good thing, is all 5 guys have experience. Now, we switched up to some positions, but there's nothing like experience specifically in our league. We're going to need some young guys to step up from a depth standpoint, but the first 5 that we put out there, they're pretty much battle tested, and we know what we're getting.
Coach, will go down here in front to the left,
Ron Davisnoll.com. Gus, is it easier to fit the quarterback to your system or adjust your system to fit the quarterback? And which part of the equation is John Franklin third fitting on that?
Well, first of all, with John, he's a guy that I've been impressed with. Came in, he's really won his teammates' respect, which is always important, for a new guy coming in. It's very important to him. He's a hard worker. The 2 older guys, both are in a lot better spot than we were this time last year. Once we identify who our starter is, it gives us the best chance of winning. You will see us tweak our offense to build around their strengths. I mean, we're always going to have the same philosophy and the core beliefs with our offense, but once we make that call on who that guy is, we will tweak and try to build around their strengths and try not to ask them to do things that maybe are not their strengths.
Coach, we'll go over here to our right, about 3/4 of the way back.
Hey, Gus Malzahn in USA Today. Just curious, what do you think you misjudged about your team last year? And then when something like that happens to you as a coach, how do you sort of compensate for that next year in terms of maybe managing expectations or that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, I think each year, after year, you always, you take a look back and you evaluate things. And what can you do better from a head coach's standpoint? What can you do better from an administrative standpoint? And so it was good for me to sit back and look and evaluate everything. When I look at last year, really the thing that stands out to me is we lost close games. In this league, you're going to have a lot of close games. The 2 previous years, we were one of the best in the country at winning close games. We had opportunities, and usually it comes down this league to 2 or 3 plays in these close games. And you got to find a way to make them, and you got to have your guys prepared, and you got to be able to execute. From an offensive standpoint, really was the first time since I've been coaching college that we didn't execute at what I say a high level consistently. And that goes back on me, but I do feel good about where we're at. I do feel good about the evaluations and some of the changes that we made going this year.
Okay, we'll go here to the center, 3rd row.
Stephen Smith, Touchdown Alabama magazine, coach of the running back position last year, Peyton Barber, a 1,000-yard back. But talk to me about Kerryon Johnson, the guy's a big name recruit, a diverse player. What have you seen from him in the weight room, in the film room, that has you excited about him?
Yeah, Kerryon Johnson's got a chance to be, one of the most versatile guys in our league. I truly believe. I think his best days are to come. He did a very good job with us for us last year as a true freshman. You're talking about a guy that we threw him the ball in the backfield. He did some wildcat stuff. He was banged up most of the year. He had shoulder surgery in the spring. He's probably put on close to 15, 20 pounds, which that's a good thing. But just from a play calling standpoint, from an offensive standpoint, he gives us a lot of flexibility because he does a lot of things well, and he's going to have a big role for us this year.
Coach, we'll go over to the left, Bob.
Hey, Bob.
Hey guys, my whole learning, I've never practiced prayer, Hey, I was reading some stories in the spring about how maybe you felt like you didn't get to strictly focus on being a football coach enough last season, maybe were too much of a CEO. I was wondering if you could kind of expound on those thoughts.
Yeah, at the end of the day, I'm a football coach, and that's my strength, is being on the field, coaching an offense. And, kind of goes back to the question before, after you get done with a season and you're not as successful as you'd like, you evaluate things. And one thing that really hit me pretty hard is I've got to be more active with the daily X's and O's and the actual coaching and everything that goes with that. And that's what I look at as my strength. And so that's what I meant by that. And I'm looking forward to getting back in the middle of things and enjoying the actual coaching on the field.
Coach, we'll go all the way to the back, to the right.
Coach Jay Greason with the Times Free Press. Do you have a policy on the players in your program or the players you're trying to recruit in your program about domestic violence issues and how you handle them? And do you think there should be a conference-wide or NCAA-wide policy on this issue?
Yeah, we do our homework. We do our homework thoroughly on everybody we recruit. And I've said before, as far as domestic violence is something that we don't touch. But we do our homework on everyone we bring in the program. There's a lot of information out there these days, which makes it better. But that's just our approach.
Okay, we'll go on this near aisle here over to our left.
Coach, could you talk about opening with 5 straight home games? Is that a good thing or bad?
I hope it's a good thing. I'm really excited that we're playing at home. I know our players and our coaches, I know our fans are excited. We got a real schedule starting out, and I would probably put our schedule up against anybody in college football, especially early. The fact that we are playing at home will do nothing but help us. We got, in my opinion, the best crowd in college football, and it's really something to be able to play and coach in front of them. And we have a pretty tough opener, obviously with Clemson, one of the better teams in all of college football with maybe the best player in all of college football. So we got a work cut out for us, but we are definitely happy that we're playing our first 5 games at home, to answer your question.
We'll go here on the wall on the left.
Coach Hannah Stevens, 97.7 The Zone in Huntsville. My question for you is this, going into the fall after the spring, if you would just talk about Chandler Cox's role.
Did you say Chandler Cox? Yeah, Chandler Cox is one of our leaders. I mean, he brings great energy. He played significantly as a true freshman last year. He is a tough guy. He's gotten a little bigger. He's probably put on about 10 to 15 pounds since last year. If you think back to the Jay Croshes and those guys that we've been really good on offense, we've had that guy, and he really reminds me a lot of that. He's really worked on his hands down the field. He's a very physical player. He's been very durable too.
Okay, we'll go back over here to the right on the aisle.
Stuart Randell from Fox Sports. Gus, you had 13 seconds away from a national championship in your first season, and then within a couple years of that, obviously, you mentioned going through a season last year where the offense didn't execute the way your offenses traditionally do. In addition to just kind of doing the evaluation you talked about, was last season humbling for you as a coach? You really haven't experienced anything quite like that, as a college head coach.
I think so. We had high expectations, and we do every year. We weren't able to reach our goals, and that was very frustrating, and it was humbling to go through an experience like that. And I think you've got to evaluate everything like we talked about. You've got to figure out a way to improve. I will tell you, I'm extremely motivated this year, as well our staff and our team is. But like I said, it really comes down to, in our league, winning close games. And the difference in last year and the years before, we've been one of the best in the country winning close games, and last year we didn't get it done. And that's really from a coach's standpoint. Close games, I really believe are a coach's standpoint. Our kids played their guts out, and really I expect us to play much better in those close games this year.
Okay, we'll go back over here on our left.
Mike Martin, the Tiger Manager. Dak Prescott led Mississippi State in so many offensive categories the last couple of years. In your experience, how does an offense move on and rebuild after losing such a valuable piece that did so much?
He was one of the better offensive players in our conference, in my opinion, the last couple of years, and what he meant to his team. He got better and better each year. He was like a running back. I mean, the way they utilized him. Every time we played him, he threw the ball extremely well. I think he's a very good player, and it doesn't hurt my feelings that he's moved on.
Okay, we'll go right here in the second row. Pat, right here on our left.
Yeah, I guess Pat Dooley, the Gainesville Sun. You just talk about how hard it's been to game plan with Carl and then to lose him both years, and then how eager you are to try to have him for a whole year.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. Anytime you have an impact player, whether it's offense or defense, you really build around that impact player's strengths, and he's a game changer. And when you have a guy like that, it changes everything. It really makes people better than maybe they are, or it hides some of your deficiencies. He's got that ability. And, so he's had the ups and downs with his injury. And I think from a coach's standpoint, you learn. And you just got to prepare with or prepare without him or without an impact player. But, he's got that ability. I really expect him to stay healthy. And like I said earlier, I mean, he's at his best. He's at his fastest and quickest and strongest he's ever been. He's very confident. He's a wonderful young man. I really expect him to stay healthy.
Coach, we'll go over here to our right.
Ross Jones with the Advocate. Gus, you kind of traded coaches with LSU this season with Craig going over to LSU with Steele. How does that fuel the rivalry, for one, and then two, what do you expect Kevin Steele to bring to your defense?
Yeah, first of all, Coach Craig decided to move on. He did a good job for us. We wish him nothing but the best. Cody Barnes is a former player that played for me in this offense. We won the national championship. We feel very good about him coming up in that. And then your second part of your question was what I expect out of Coach Steele. Is that it? Yeah, he's a true professional. I really, when Coach Muschamp went to take another head coaching job, I really wanted somebody that was familiar with our conference. I wanted somebody that was a true professional, somebody that had the same philosophy as I have, and it really all the boxes fit. So we're blessed to have a guy like him. Our defense has responded extremely well. Our players, they were flying around during the spring, they were having fun. Like I said, with our defensive staff, you can just sense it when you go in the defensive staff room. It's just, they're all on the same page. It's a great feeling. And he's really looking forward to working with our defensive players, and I know the rest of our defensive staff is too.
Okay, we'll go back over here to the left. Third row. Chase Goodbread with NFL.com. Coach, a couple of coaches around the league have called for some reform in the way that underclassmen transition to the NFL, whether it be having maybe an underclassmen combine or even letting underclassmen who go undrafted come back to school. Do you have any thoughts about that reform-wise, or you like the system the way it is?
Yeah, I think I'm open to anything, especially the guys that go undrafted. I think that's something to definitely look into. I know Brett from Arkansas, we talked about that, and I thought that was probably a good idea, at least to discuss, as far as that goes. Everything else, I'm pretty happy with the way things are right now.
We'll go right down the front and center, the second row.
Colin Taylor, Gamecock Central. Just how hard is it going to replace a guy like Plus Champion, T-Rob, Lance Thompson, all the way from Plus Champion over to South Carolina?
Yeah, they're all good coaches, there's no doubt about that. I feel great about our staff right now. Travis Williams, Wesley McGriff, coached in NFL for 3 years with the Saints, did a great job. Travis is a guy that was an all-conference player in our league at this position, just loves Auburn. Ronnie Garner, I believe, is the best D-line coach in all of college football. And like I said, I've already talked about Kevin Steele, so I feel great about this defensive staff. And really, my goal is I got to keep this group together, and I'm definitely committed to doing that.
Okay, we'll go back to the right on the wall.
Hey, Coach. Steve Moulton, 97.7 The Zone. Specifically recruiting out of Madison Academy. You've got 2 tailbacks out of Madison Academy. And if you could just talk about recruiting in the North Alabama area and how vital Madison Academy has been to the program.
Yeah, first of all, the 2 running backs, are outstanding young men. They're outstanding players that will definitely help us win football games. And if you look, 4 years ago, we made a commitment to recruit the state of Alabama. And we've done a very good job up in the Huntsville area. There's a lot of great players in that area. We made a commitment to doing that. Cameron County moving forward. The list goes on. And we're going to continue to recruit that area. A lot of very good football players, a lot of very good high school coaches.
We'll go front row right here on the left.
John Chris, Saturday Down South. Coach, you had so much success so quickly in 2013. Now that we're removed from that as far as we are, do you have a greater appreciation of just how great a run that was and how many things need to go your way to taste that kind of success again?
Yeah, of course, that was really very special to be a part of that team and everything that went with that. We played the toughest league in college football, and I probably said it 3 or 4 times, but you got to win the close ones. There's going to be a lot of close games in this conference. And I think that's what really separates this conference, or one of the things that separates this conference from others is you got to bring your lunch every week. And to answer your question, yeah, anytime you have a very good season and you win the SEC championship, that's extremely hard to do. You've got to play well. You've got to have timely plays. You've got to get a couple breaks, and it's a grind. And when you win the championship in this league, it's a big deal. It motivates you to try to do that every year, and that's the great challenge in our league. There's a lot of great teams, a lot of great coaches, and you got to win close ones.
Coach, we'll go to the back, over on the right side again.
Hey, Coach, Bruce Feldman, Fox Sports. I wonder, you opened with Clemson. How much, if at all, do you consider the caliber of the opponent when it comes to disciplined players who get in trouble, whether they get suspended for an opener or not?
We have the same expectations regardless of the opener. It just so happens we're playing one of the best teams in college football, a team that almost won it all last year. We got a lot of guys coming back. We've had some success with first games in the past. We're going to have to continue to do that to have a chance. Very good team. But to answer your question, we have high expectations with our players no matter who we're playing the first game or not.
Okay, we'll go on the center section before Roosevelt.
Coach Jack Winchester, Auburn Plainsman. Can you talk about the new group of receivers? And you've obviously shown some confidence in Marcus Davis by bringing him to Hoover, and just some guys we may not have seen past years that you expect to step up.
Yeah, Marcus Davis, Tony Stevens, Jason Smith. Stan Pruitt's a guy that has been a little banged up, but I really think he's set to have a very good year. And then we got a bunch of freshmen. Those freshmen are going to play this year. They're going to have to grow up in a hurry. But I will tell you this will be a position of strength for us in the future. We got some outstanding talent at that position, young talent, and meshed in with those guys that have experience, with Marcus and Tony and those guys. And, Coach Burns is excited about the group. And like I said, you're talking about a guy that played in this offense. He caught the first touchdown in the national championship game in 2010. He's young enough to relate to the players. And so I'm excited to watch that group grow. But they're going to have to grow up in a hurry.
Coach will go over here at our left alongside Walt.
Coach Drew DeArmond, 97.7 The Zone Radio in Huntsville, Alabama. I wanted to ask you about your special relationship with Herb Hand. He's come in, you guys had a really good run together at Tulsa. What's he brought to your offensive line? And of course, I know he shifted Austin Golson, looks like from center to left tackle. What kind of progress did your O-line make in the spring? I know that's going to be a key for your offense.
I got a lot of confidence in Herb. We go way back. When we were together, we had great success. Our personalities really complement each other. He's a very, very intelligent person. You will see us, we'll be a little different. We'll have some tweaks, and a lot of it will have his name on it. We have a lot of confidence in him. He's a very good teacher. He's a great example for his players. His offensive linemen have really taken hold of his philosophy, and they really bonded. So I'm really looking forward to being one of my good friends.